Hello there, welcome to episode 5 of my Exotic Industries gameplay for Factorio. And as you can clearly see, I have moved. For one, I got a cool car now. For another, we left the old meditation spot and it's more like a parking lot now, you know? From the meditation spot to the parking lot. After all, I'm a factory owner, so I'm supposed to gear up. Jokes aside, I went on a little bit of a exploration trip in between the episodes, and I found a lot of goodies. And I've placed down the parking lot down here because this is where expansion will take me. I found these things. We have coal, abundance of coal, and most importantly, we have a small crude oil patch here. We do have a huge crude oil patch over there, and since there's some gold over there, which I will ultimately need, I suppose. Yeah, this area will be claimed by the factory one day or another. On this side, we got copper, iron, copper, iron, copper, coal, iron. You see, this direction is very rich in resource, so I figured the new base, the one that will replace this stinky mess here. I'm sorry, base. I didn't mean to. It's just nothing personal. We're going to see the expansion in that direction because I really see that here I can build up a train network that can transport a lot of material and can be adapted to several spots with ease. I will not need much adaptation, and therefore we even have some uranium over there. So, yeah, that's what I did between those episodes. Apart from that, well, I'm very unhappy with the current state of business. I got this wonky setup there where a couple of assemblers are building electricity age tech packs for me. Sure, it does work somehow, but for one, it ain't automated, and for another, I'm really tired of hand feeding things. I mean, it does work somehow, but I'm done with working somehow. So, first thing that I want to do today is I want to set up some sort of steel production, and I want to set up then an automated production of those blue tech packs because it's about time. Come on, we have to get past all this, don't we? So, you know, looking at this, I have already set up a little bit of a example. This is not nearly optimized in any way, you know. It's just put it down as it fits. And this is producing the engines that we require. I have the green circuits that I require. And the rest is just the steel. So let's hop on over to the parking lot. And I'm going to continue this video as soon as I have some serious automation going on. And there we are. So, as you can see, there's a little bit of a belt encroaching here. That's because here's the blue signs being produced, and I decided that I wanted to relay the old production. So the stuff that's been here is now flowing down here and on over there, because I have decided that my new labs, they shall live somewhere else. And that's around my little parking lot. You know, I always love to do that. We have had labs living right next to my idle spot since the beginning of this run, and I start to grow accustomed to this, you know, start to feel like I'm missing something if I don't do it like that. Jokes aside, now we have to choose how we do things. Luckily, by now, I have long-handed inserters put together, so we can actually use electrical help. Yeah. So, currently the production is at a really, well, let's call it embarrassing level, you know? We are roughly producing half a unit of tech per second. I got this wonderful little array together. Alright, it's a little bit more than that, 0.7. But the good news is the steel mechanical parts and the electronic circuits are way... Oh. Would provide way more than that. So, why is there no more steam in the system? Because we cut the connection. So, I don't know how and when that happened, but it did. Alright, it'll take a moment for steam to get back into the system. Makes me kind of wonder if the system is by now overstressed with all the input that we got in there. Guess I'll not know so fast. Okay, where were we? Yeah, I meant to get the whole factory into motion. That just is a little bit unnerving when all of a sudden when you want to get everything going, stuff like that happens. Well, I gotta check later if we need a boiler or two more. Probably we do not have enough steam production for the entirety of that thing. But I'll check once it's time for that. Well, now we got a wonderful new thing to do, and that's rejoicing in the fact that we got ourselves some real tech going on now. So first off, let's give this beauty the electricity. Oh man, I'm so excited, you know, about stuff that you regularly do in a couple of minutes in every run. Oh man, I love overhaul mod packs. You know, they do the weirdest things to you. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's see. Well, let's put it down like that. Only needs the regular old yellow inserter. Ah, look at us. Automated research. For real. I'm so happy. I can't put it into proper words. It's been a pretty long trip to reach this point. But the sweetness about all that is we now have automated production going. Well, as soon as I have fixed that little issue with the steam there. But beyond that, I'm more than happy. So next stop, fixing the Steam issue, and after that, I think it's about time to crank up the values about that. I also want to mention that I started researching Automation Tier 2 right after researching Automation Level 1, because I figured that if I take all that work and all that pain to get myself to these machines, I might as well have the one that's working 25% faster, right? Right. So we're going to craft us some turbines, and I somehow feel as if yeah, look at this. There's probably not enough steam. So let's soup up the steam engine, crank up the labs a little bit, and then I'll see where to go next. It's time to think about expansion, and I don't really know where the next snippet of this video will begin at, and that's an exciting feeling, because that means I have so many options that I don't really know where it's going to lead me. With that being said, let's see where it's going to lead me. So before I was really able to get through all the things that I had in mind, well, first off, I have expanded a little bit on my labs, but, you know, before I knew what hit me, my boilers here were out of fuel, so I had to do a little bit of an emergency thing. But as you can here see again, also the emergency thing doesn't work out as well. So what has happened here, before I knew what has happened, we had an insane drain on the fuel consumption because I amped up the production ratio because that factory is actually doing something for the first time. That means we are in a pretty bad situation currently because my fuel is not sufficient for the factory. Therefore, we're going to go and expand very quickly, very early into the southern areas here. Let me show. So I want to expand to this area here ASAP to get that fuel issue under control, because it's quite simply explained. The solid fuel production that I got here, it's just not scraping the barrel anymore. We have a whopping one oil pump jack running around here. So thing is here, quite simple. Once we have plastics researched, we have access to oil processing. And with oil processing, we get access to the real pump jacks. You know, those which have a mining speed of 1 per second, not 0.5, and they also only consume electricity. Same goes for those chemical plants. They also seem to consume only electricity. Therefore, well, you know, As much as I am tempted to rush down here and do my thing, I think I'm going to take it this time rather the slow approach. That means we're going to expand on our power grid because that seems to be really, really important. But in the time between, I'm not going to do much more except for keeping this monster here alive until we have scienced our way through to the oil processing. Quite an interesting thing that happened here, but the moment I have had this grid here under a steady pressure, we were seeing some problems. So let's see how we can resolve these. So science is slowly invading my private space, but it's getting the job done. We were successful with the research there, so we do see now finally sweet, sweet success. There's the pump jack. I've been a little bit too happy too early because I realized that I have discovered the chemical plant, not a new type of oil refinery. Be that as it may, it's now about time to spread our empire. I also managed to have enough labs that finally all the blue tech that I'm producing is being consumed. I'm actually quite happy about that because that means I'm finally using my whole potential, so to say. So this whole place down here will become the backbone of my fuel production, or so I hope at least. I mean, we do have all the necessary things here. We have coal, we have oil, although I gotta say the oil deficit here, well, it could be better. It's just four of them. That's not that terribly much. But it is, compared to the current situation, one, a huge step forward. Oh, crap. Oh, damn. I have forgotten my pipes again. Maybe I haven't forgotten them at all the refineries I was building, 8 of them, but, there's always some sort of crappy excuse there. But that at least gets me to the point where I can't grab my car yet again. That's pretty good. So, the basic idea behind all this is quite simple. I'm going to set up the fuel refinery, but the problem is I need some fuel to kickstart the whole process. The interesting part about this facility will be that I basically will produce some sort of, well, you could even call an endless energy source, because the oil down here, you see, it never will deplete. So if we're only converting the oil into fuel, we're going to have basically an endless source of fuel. So let's see. I got pipe, I got that. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting something here because I always do. But, that doesn't matter. At least I'm not forgetting the car. So the car was also one of those really, really big quality of life improvements, which allows me now to breeze between those locations much, much easier. Really, really appreciate that. So let's get that stuff together. And yeah, now I know what I forgot. Extra fuel, whatever. So I brought an arrangement of few electric mining drills and those guys, and now we got to set up the solid fuel production one more time, but this time with a little bit more feeling. Basically, I got way more firepower than the last time, so we're going to see what we can do with that. I'll be setting up this wonderful thing, and we're going to see what'll happen after that. So the basic idea is that I'll be producing that fuel and I'll be piping it back up there. Also, we will ultimately start setting up shop here for real, but, well, one thing at a time. And here's what I have cooked up. So it's a pretty simple thing. We have only 3 of these guys here running, which will use up 30 of the crude oil. And if you check it out here, we have the capacity for 4 more of these guys. Brilliant, isn't it? We're producing here currently 33 of the residual oil and 27 of the petroleum. And if you check these out, these require 15, so we can easily, and these require 10, so we can easily have 2 of each kind here running, just something like that. Sadly, my capacities currently are rather low, so well, I'm not that able to upscale in the way that I'd like to. As you might notice here, I'm not even using underground pipes here anymore because I ran out of these, so, you know, small things. But whatever might be the case, there is one really, really good piece of news. We got the solid fuel now truly automated. So that means we can now pipe that stuff back into the main factory. But most importantly, we're also able to scale this production indefinitely up. This is one of the things that really makes me happy. We can now, well, let's say, I don't know, we can really go wherever we want to with that production. What I am going to install here, well, let's install that rather here. Just a tiny split off for the oil refining. The heater there doesn't run on goodwill alone, and no heat, no oil refining, basically. We can use a burner inserter here, no props, because we can, of course, rely on that. So here now, of course, nothing is happening anymore because I bet we were running... Wait a sec, we are not running out of heat. We somehow don't have the water connection anymore. Anywho, you see where we're headed with that, but I also see that I do need more resources for that. So, well, whatever went wrong there, I can already somehow see that it has been, must have been because I moved these guys a little bit back and forth. Anywho, so we're going to take this fine stuff now a little bit further into that direction so I have the room to upscale, and then we take it back into the main base. This ain't really an efficient way. This is, in my opinion, already a bit too long to belt that without feeling a little bit weird about it. But whatever. We got to do what we got to do, my friends. So let's pipe that through here. But I'm going to fix this up. Parking lot is right next to me. We're going to fix that up. I'm going to distribute that fuel all over the base. And then let's see. The next goals will be to upscale that thing. And, oh, I totally forgot to mention, we're in the age of optics now. Optics is unlocking in this mod pack radar. So I also have access to radar now. So that means with the next snippet that I'm recording, we're going to have some actual live footage, and most importantly, we will be scanning chunks around us. So yeah, things are coming together by now, don't you notice? So yeah, I think the very first thing that I'll be working on will be expanding the chemical industry down here properly, because I feel like that fuel production there, it's quite a big thing. And after that, well, let's see. I feel like upgrading my smelter stacks for real. We got the backbone now, and before I will build a proper mall, I feel like I want to have a proper resource production. Although I gotta say, this area here is more like fuel production. There's not that much resource around, so probably we should better go and... Oh, well, I'm not sure. It's for me pretty hard to tell. I guess I will tap into these here. Oh, well, let's see. I'll let you know once I know. Alright, and by the power of radar, I finally can see what's happening here. So I just wanted to show you what I did here in between. I got now a production of 3 of these solid fuel cubes per second. I like that. I also cranked up the production of these oil refineries. So by now we do process the entirety of that oil patch. You see, we're processing 80 crude oil per second. And since we do have a production of, well, let's put it together like that. So you see, we are processing a little bit more oil than we are actually producing, but I don't think that this is going to be a real problem. These guys here, as you see, I got 3 of these, each consuming 15. We are producing 88. So that means currently we're only using 50% of that stuff. And the petrol, well, 30 of 72. So there's still plenty of that stuff to go around as soon as I want to start sticking my nose into different things. I now also finally have researched the big electric pole stuff because I got tired of those small poles. Everybody should get tired of these sooner or later. So now we can go for what? There's benzol that is being produced out of coal gas. Pretty important that we get that rolling sooner or later because that's a really cool way of utilizing coal gas. But beyond that, I also noticed the distillation tower, which allows us to produce lubricant in the long run. And as you see here, it's unlocking a lot of other technologies. But I'm going to be boring for now. Let's research that electric crusher because I feel like it is a technology that might be straightforward, but albeit very, very useful. Okay, so these goals have been all tackled. Where to next? I really, really want to improve on my resource intake, and for that regard, I have chosen these two patches here. We are playing peaceful. That means those biters here won't come and spoil my fun, and therefore, I wanted to pick up these two patches out of one simple reason. They are still in beltable range. I mean, it's going to be quite a long belt, but I still feel like it's a sane thing to belt that, although it's almost enough to validate the usage of trains. But anywho, these two resource patches will be the foundation stone of our base that will carry us to the mall. And well, I will leave this starter base sooner or later. I think this starter base here will only stick forever to these 3 tech packs, and whatever we're building over here will be then building its own laboratory. But until then, I really want to claim these 2 patches here, and really just get a resource income together that actually reflects my current situation properly. Because I really feel like I don't want to put any extra strain on this little thing here and conserve those few resources that I got here for the sake of sciencing up. And when all that is done, well, let's see what we're going to do with that. So that being said, I'm going to set up some radars over there. I'm going to craft me some mining machines, and most importantly, I'm also going to go for steel furnaces this time. I don't feel ready just yet to go for electric furnaces, although I feel like they would be the optimal choice, but oh man, that resource intake, and they are not faster than steel furnaces. So for starters, we're going to go for steel furnaces because I feel like these guys are offering me the ideal upgrade that I'm looking for while being not so terribly costly. We just need to get up some steel, but luckily we are producing some of that stuff. Anyways, catch you later when we have made progress on those new frontiers. Alrighty, took all the preparations that I wanted, so it's looking like that now. We got ourselves a little bit of a landline with power. Look at our new neighbors. Luckily they are peaceful, so they don't mind my radar. So I have also put up a little bit of a power line over here so we can control these areas quite decently. Now I did some math. So the thing is, I want to have this time some real business, fully saturated belts and the like. So I did a little bit of a Helmut thing, and this is what we came up with. It's a very simple thing, since we're still only talking about iron ingots, but nevertheless, we require 15 poor iron chunks for that. 24 steel furnaces. That's quite some numbers, especially since we're currently still handcrafting all these machines. There's still no real automation happening. It pains me to say that, but I really, really am not able to do it any better. So we researched the crusher, good stuff. Let's just keep going. Benzol, it sounds like a good thing. And yeah, let's continue with the math. Thing is, that means we're going to require 30 electric miners per patch. That's quite the number. I'm not really sure if we're actually able to get 30 miners into that measly little patch there. It's quite small, but dense. Same goes for this one. It's also not that large. But if we are going to be able to get 30 of these guys in there, well, then we will have a fully saturated belt. I'm somehow skeptical currently if I am actually going to get that done. But nevertheless, this is what we're aiming for, you know? I don't want no half measures at this point anymore. I want to have the real deal, as painful as it is to set these things up. It will also be the last mining outpost where we're going to set up things that painstakingly slow, because in the future we're going to have all these things automated. So it's going to look a little bit like that. And to make matters worse, I'm also currently not really able to get things fully electrified. So as soon as this baby is going to run on full capacity, it's going to blow my circuits here as well. So there's a terrible lot of work to get done here. And, well, what can I do? I probably will leave the game a little bit on background running to just get get those miners done, because in all honesty, this is going to take a while. We got a pretty good start here, but, you know, with all the tweaking that I need to do for these, well, I bet that we are talking about, like, at least 30 minutes of handcrafting here, if that's even enough. I don't know. We're going to see about that. I do see one thing, and that's the end of today's episode. I'm cutting it a tad bit shorter this time because A, I'm a little bit tired, and B, I can already see that this will take a while. Especially, it will take a while with handcrafting. So I'm going to prepare all these bits and bobs that we require to get the job done here, and then we're going to set up the base, the real base, or base 2.0, however we want to call it. But you know, it's been a blast so far. I really, really enjoy this mod pack. The deeper I go, the more I like it. This little oil refinery today was it was so much fun to get it done. All right. And I feel like we have a good basis there. I also can produce easily plastic down here if I ever want to, because plastic does only require petrol and coal. We will receive another plastic recipe revolving around benzol, but either way, we can produce plastic down here quite decently with all the oil. And one day in the far-fetched future, we got that big, big oil field there for the heavy industry. So, I thank you all so much for watching. I also will bring up in the course of this series now several of these parking lots. Let's call them spawn points. So, the basic idea is that I will make it in a way that we're going to zoom in on one of these, and afterwards you can only see in the back mini-map that we changed actually the location. But that's not really important. Don't mind me. What's important is to know that we fixed up today the fuel production for this whole place. Look at it go. I mean, we got it. It's all fueled up. We got the basics for the electricity grid down. We got the fuel production down. Especially this is so great because it's an endless source, you know. The oil never depletes, so I can't just do my thing as long as I want to. No resource drain, at least for power production. So yeah, I'm super happy, and I hope you enjoyed the show as well. Next time, like I said, going to build the actual base, and I hope you're going to stick around for that as well. Thanks for all the absolutely motivating comments. You guys are really, really awesome in that regard. So keep them coming. I'd be really delighted to hear from you. And of course, thumbs up help a ton to make this video series more visible. And feel free to subscribe. It helps me a ton. And if you hit that bell thing, you will stay notified whenever something new hits town from my side. There is a playlist link leading to the entirety of this series in the description box. And that's been all that I had on my mind for today. Thanks for watching yet again, and see you guys next time. Bye-bye.